It's Friday, July 3rd, 2026. I'm 27 years old, and it's me, Jordan. Sometimes some people call me Joe sometimes, but my name is Jordan. I just recorded a whole other video, and here I am again. Man, I have a lot of thoughts on my mind, and I want to explore them. I have so many thoughts. I feel like I could go in different directions here. Maybe they tie in together. I don't know. I mean, lately I've been thinking a lot about perfectionism because I've been healing the part of me that feels the need to be perfect. And I think somehow recording these videos and doing some of the things that I've been doing, creating some of the things I've been creating, doing these videos, writing some more, and kind of just putting it out there and sharing things has been a practice for me in facing perfectionism head on and overcoming it. For so long, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came from. But forever, I wanted to be perceived in a certain way by people. And I think so much of that stems from insecurity. You don't feel secure in yourself. So you want to control other people's perceptions of you because it freaks you out if they think you're this way or that way, if they think poorly of you. If they think you're too much, too silly, too serious, too little, too small, too reserved, too quiet, like I started doing a podcast with my sister a few years ago now, and we still do it, and it has grown because like we have grown. That's what I mean by that. We have grown, and I think I've been having so much more fun with it lately because I don't feel the need to try to control every little thing. And for the first bit of the podcast, we started this podcast. I thought it'd be a good idea. I just thought it'd be a good idea for my sister to. It's very entrepreneurial focused. And in the beginning, it was just my sister. I just thought she needed to do her own little podcast alone. And like, I'd help with the back end sort of stuff. I'd help edit it and upload it and do all the things. But like, let her do her thing, speak to her zones of expertise and thrive. So I was like, you should do a podcast. I'll help you with it, etc. We start this podcast. And then very soon into the first season of the podcast, I came on for a little guest episode, which was really fun. I haven't listened to that in a long time. I'd be curious to listen to that again. But I enjoyed that episode. I thought it was fun. And then after that, my sister was just like, we should do this together. Like, it's better with two people. I don't want to do this alone. And it's better with you. So like, let's do it together. So I was like, okay, I guess we can do that. And then that began this whole journey of me really, I don't know, struggling with myself and my voice and how I articulate things and how I speak and just feeling like putting so much pressure on myself to look a certain way, be a certain way, speak a certain way. And it really sucked all the fun out of podcasting. I'm podcasting with my sister, but I'm not having a fun time because I'm in my own head all the time and freaking out and having like these anxiety inducing episodes. And it was ridiculous. I used to approach the podcast very differently than I do now. Thank God I have grown some and healed some and overcome some of that stuff. But we used to do this podcast together in such a way where like, I don't know. I didn't know enough about podcasting, and I had heard that everyone does podcasts different. Some people probably have more of a strict outline that they go through. Some people probably have no real outline. They maybe have some bullet points that they're going to hit on, but then they just kind of like chat. Some podcasts are more relaxed and laid back and conversational. Some are interview style podcasts, and then some are maybe more structured. And I felt like we needed to be more structured, and we needed to have an outline so that it was more for me than anything, because my sister could just chat and she'd be fine and whatever. She would prepare beforehand, but she could just kind of get on the microphone and talk, and she wasn't as nervous as I was. But I was like, I need to have an outline with all these notes listed out so that I have something to fall back on if in the moment I get too in my head and I freak out and I don't know what I'm saying, and I need notes. And I need in-depth notes so that I can fall back on them. It was kind of like a crutch for me. So before a podcast episode, I would sit with whatever topic we were going to talk about. I would think about it. I would brainstorm. I would write down my notes. I would research. Like, I would look up things. I always look up definitions of words, because sometimes we would talk about specifics. What would we talk about? Let me go back. I'm going to just go back to the podcast app. We would talk about certain topics, and I wanted to have a good idea of like, what does this word actually mean? For example, we just did an episode recently that was talking a lot about significance. You don't have to be seen to be significant. So I looked up, what does significance mean? What's the history of this word, the etymology? Can we go back to the beginning to really, really unpack it and give me a fuller understanding of what the word means? So that's the kind of research that I was doing. And I was taking these outlines so seriously and trying to get every thought that I could possibly think about this topic written down so that not only do I have this crutch to fall back on, I have notes that I can reference, but I also wanted to outline these episodes in such a way that it was so well-rounded, and basically it was a statement with a period at the end. Like, there is no room for discussion, period. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted the episodes to be so well thought out and well-rounded that I would hit all the counterpoints and try to talk about whatever topic it was in every light, every way that I could, so that no one could really come back and say, well, what about this thing? What about this part? What about this aspect? I think I was so scared of people on the internet, man. I was just kind of scared of I was just scared. I was just scared if someone would come back at us and say, well, you left this thing out. You forgot about this, though. And I felt like if there was room for that, then the episode wasn't good enough. And I needed it to be so buttoned up and polished and well thought out that people couldn't really come back at us and say anything. I've since totally changed my mind on that, or I've just seen things a lot differently, because you only know what you know. You only know what you know at certain ages, at certain stages of your life, in certain seasons, and then you grow into deeper revelation and understanding about some things. And it's like I was trying to be so perfect and not leave any room for me to ever grow, really. It's like I wanted to be perfect and accurate and right about everything and have such control over it all. instead of allowing there to be room for nuance and for me to one day maybe change my mind about something. And that's okay if I do. And I'm sure if I listen back through all of our old episodes, there's probably some stances that I took on some things that were maybe really harsh or very black and white that maybe I think differently about now. And I understand that better now. And I can see how that's okay. And that's actually really normal. Like when we started that podcast, I don't know how old I was. I might have been like 20. Does it say? It doesn't say when it began. 3 years ago. I don't know. I might have been 23. I'm going back to the beginning. 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I would have been 24. What? Hello? No. I was 24? Somehow I thought that I was younger than that. Wait a second. Sorry. I'm fact checking. When did that come out? Okay. I was 24. Somehow I felt younger than that. I don't know. I felt younger than that. But I feel like I've grown and matured from 24 to 27. I feel like still very much me, but I do somehow feel like a different person. I feel like a new creation in my 27th year. I'm going to take another espresso break. My dad is just like blasting music in the garage, which is right below me. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it. I wrote something last night actually kind of talking about this in my Patreon. I'm like I used to have a Patreon and then I kind of gave up on it because I was approaching it from a very not good place. Kind of a more selfish mentality. And that's a whole other story for another time. I could get into that. But I started my Patreon up again because I wanted to kind of have a whole archive in one place of writing and videos and audios and all of that. And I wrote something kind of about this last night, and I want to read it. I kind of want to just skim through it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. All right, I'll read some of it. One of my greatest fears for the longest time, and something that held me back from sharing what I wanted to share online, was that if people saw me flip-flop on my opinions or go back on something I once deemed absolute truth, they would think me fickle and untrustworthy. I felt like I'd have everything figured out. Like if I was going to share something on the internet where it could live on forever, I needed to be so sure. The thought needed to be so fully formed that there would be no going back on it. Screw my opinions, which could change with the wind. I needed to be accurate, to be right, to have my head on so straight that there would be no room for people to catch me in a gotcha moment. I talk about how maybe it's the nature of the internet because people can be so unforgiving. That's the thing. I think that's what scared me for a long time was cancel culture. And I'm like, I don't even have a big enough, people don't know me enough to cancel me. People don't, I think that tends to happen with bigger people, like bigger celebrities, even social media influencers. But you have to have a big enough following to be canceled. But that sort of cancel culture mindset is what freaked me out so much. Because I was like, if I say the wrong thing or if I have an opinion that someone totally disagrees with or if I say it the wrong way, people could say all sorts of crazy things about me and they can be very unforgiving. I basically say there's no room. Whoa. There's no room for nuance on the internet. It's like people don't want to give you any room to be a human being and grow and evolve and maybe change your mind, you know? Maybe some of the opinions I held at 20 changed by the time I was 24. And then maybe they changed a little bit again by the time I was 27. I think some things just evolve like that. You grow as a person, you mature, and you get deeper revelation and understanding about some things that you didn't have before. So when you grow into more information, not even more information sometimes, but like deeper revelation about something, your views on that thing could kind of shift a little bit. It might not totally change, but it might shift a little bit, you know? But yeah, that's kind of the gist of what I was writing about yesterday, and how I just at this point I want to embrace who I am right now, and embrace who I am right now and how I am right now and my voice and the way I speak, and just like own it and not be ashamed of it. So doing these videos and sharing some of what I'm sharing lately, it's just a practice for me to beat this perfectionism beast into the ground and to overcome that and to be proud of who I am right now, and also know that there will be more growth and I will become more evolved and more wise, and I will grow. I will grow from this point, and I will be different probably when I'm 37, 47, 57. I will be a little bit different, a little bit wiser, a little bit. There will be something more that comes with each decade, with each phase of life, and I'm just like, I'm leaving room for that, and understanding that there will be more growth and I will become somehow different over time. But right now, I am the way that I am. I have the convictions that I have the beliefs that I have the opinions that I have the voice that I have. I sound a certain way, I speak a certain way, I act a certain way, behave a certain way, and I'm just going to own that. I'm not hurting anyone. I think if I was hurting people with my behavior, that would be a different story. But I'm just like, I'm living my life and I'm just going to let myself live and be me and not be ashamed of it. Because that's something I've struggled with for a very long time, is feeling like the insecurities. Facing insecurities. I don't know why some people struggle with some things more than others, but ever since I was little, I had these insecurities come on me that, like, I would have never thought some of the things that I thought about myself, about other people. I was always my harshest critic, and I think it was from that place of insecurity that I wanted to then control everything and be perfect. And now I'm just like, I'm free of that. I am free of that. And I'm just going to be who I am, and be a little silly, be a little serious, be a little, what did I say? I wrote something in here last night. I'm going to read this. I want to embrace me at every stage. Instead of being quiet, instead of shying away from sharing my creations out of fear of it later being cringy, or it being cringy to some people even right now. I just want to be as fully me as I can possibly be. A little strange, a little out of the ordinary, and sometimes a little ordinary too. A little silly, yet sometimes serious too. I want to leave room for nuances within myself and leave room for others to be nuanced, deep and complex and full of contradictions. I feel like that's the thing. Like, I don't necessarily think that I'm full of contradictions. I won't say that, but I think from the outside looking in, if you were to compare a past version of myself to who I am today, if you were to compare 17-year-old me to 27-year-old me, you would look at those two different those two different versions of myself and say, you're contradicting yourself. 17-year-old you contradicted 27-year-old you, and vice versa. But I was still me the whole time. At 17, I only had a certain level of wisdom, and I only had a certain amount of information, and I only had a certain amount of experience and maturity. And now I'm older and wiser and different. And I don't necessarily think that I'm contradicting myself. I'm complex, as we all are. Human beings are complex. We are complex creatures. And I think we got to allow ourselves the room to be complex. That felt like a breath of fresh air. I needed to get that. I needed to get that out. All right, I'm going to go finish my espresso and get to work. Bye.